And just like that, we fire up the television show live streaming now on YouTube Live Events, Google Hangouts. Go search for us on The Wells Report, and you will find us. I'm sitting here in my very, very comfortable looking ivory-colored sweater, and it is very, very comfortable. And I'm very, very happy to be very, very comfortable on this Friday, last day of the work week for most folk, and I hope that that's the case for you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I hope I hear from you at 844 927 6691. Once again, in case you're wondering, that's 844 927 6691. Let me get through the rest of this news having to do with Hillary Clinton. Fusion GPS requested to void a House Intelligence Committee subpoena demanding its bank records. That request has been denied by a federal judge. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon said the firm, which was behind the controversial dossier of allegations about President Trump's connection to Russia, had unavailing objections to the subpoena. Leon also denied Fusion's GPS's request for a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction that would have prevented it from turning over documents to House investigators. Fusion GPS is going to appeal the ruling, which means that there's a very good reason why they're going to appeal the ruling. It's because they don't want anybody to see where those deposits came from, and so on and so on. They don't want people to know where those deposits came from. And so what they're doing is they're fighting just as hard as possible to make sure that nobody ever knows. The House Intelligence Committee subpoenaed Fusion GPS's records as a part of its probe into who paid for the infamous dossier. It was commissioned by Fusion GPS, compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele, published by BuzzFeed News in January of 2017. Once again, this article by Caitlin Schallhorn by Fox News. What is Fusion GPS? Founded by veteran journalists, Fusion GPS provides premium research, strategic intelligence, and due diligence services to corporations, law firms, and investors worldwide. The Washington, D.C.-based firm also says it offers cross-disciplinary approaches with expertise in media, politics, religion, make that regulation, national security, and global markets. Fusion GPS was started in 2009 by former Wall Street reporters Peter Frisch and Glenn Simpson. How is Fusion GPS linked to the Russia investigation? The political firm was behind the controversial dossier that contained a number of colorful but unverifiable claims about Donald Trump. The company retained British intelligence officer Christopher Steele, who produced the 35-page dossier. While it has not been verified, the dossier, which included explicit sexual and financial allegations against Trump, created further speculation about any Trump connection to Russian officials, a question that has dogged his campaign and his presidency. Actually, it's not the question that's dogged the campaign and the presidency. It's the unwillingness for anybody to realize that Donald Trump doesn't have anything to do with the Russians, because it's a very important part of a story that keeps people from looking into Hillary Clinton's email server. Oops, too late. Who funded the dossier? The firm was originally retained during the election by conservative website Washington Free Beacon, who wanted opposition research on Trump. After Trump became the GOP presidential nominee, Hillary Clinton and the DNC retained Fusion GPS through lawyers Mark Elias and his firms Perkins Cole. Now, by the way, you need to keep something in mind. Remember, the Hillary Clinton campaign had already arranged for all of the money coming to the Democrat National Committee to be handled by the campaign. Clear violations of money laws, but more about that later. For her part, Clinton said that she did not know anything about the dossier until BuzzFeed News published it in January of 2017. The Democrats say it's simply opposition research. It's unclear what Fusion GPS dug up at the time that Perkins Cole hired them, or how much money was involved in the transaction. Clinton campaign and the DNC The Clinton campaign and the DNC paid Perkins Coie more than $9 million. It's not certain how much of that money, if any, went to the dossier. The Clinton campaign and the DNC funded the project until, excuse me, I'm sorry. I've just got this cough that won't let me go. The Clinton campaign and the DNC funded the project until 2016, right before the election. President Trump said the dossier was funded by Russia, Democrats, or the FBI. Simpson has done substantial investigative work on the case of Sergei Magnitsky, a Russian lawyer who was imprisoned after reporting a massive tax fraud scheme. Magnitsky died in prison. The U.S. enacted the Magnitsky Act, which imposes sanctions on certain Russian officials. During the campaign, Donald Trump Jr.'s president's only son or oldest son took a controversial meeting with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, who was supposed to have damning information about Clinton. She actually just wanted to talk about the Magnitsky Act, which had something to do with Russian involvement in adoptions. And then there's this. The Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, this, by the way, reported in the Washington Post by Devlin Barrett and Tom Hamburger. The Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee recommended today that the Justice Department investigate for possible criminal charges the author of the now famous dossier alleging the Trump campaign coordinated with the Kremlin during the 2016 election. The move by Senator Charles Grassley marks a major escalation in a conservative challenge to the FBI's credibility as the agency investigates whether any Trump associates committed crimes. Another Republican, Lindsey Graham, joined in the letter to the Justice Department. Their letter makes what's called a criminal referral to the Justice Department, suggesting they investigate the dossier author, former British spy Christopher Steele, for possibly lying to the FBI. It is a crime to lie to FBI agents about a material fact relevant to an ongoing investigation. Steele's role has become a matter of increasingly heated debate. White House and Republicans on Capitol Hill suggest his reports were biased since he was hired with funds that ultimately came from the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democrat National Committee. Okay. As you know, there's a guy named Michael Wolff. Michael Wolff has written a book called Fire and Fury. It is something supposed to be an inside, it's Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House. Except most of it's about the actual campaign. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot about what's in the White House. USA Today is reporting that Michael Wolff spent 3 hours with Trump on the prospect or the project. How Michael Wolff got his fly-on-the-wall access to the Trump White House. And there's also all these other things that are coming out right now. Wolff himself said the details, listen to this. Wolff himself said that the details of the books are in conflict with one another, and many are badly untrue. In some cases, he said the reader could be allowed to judge the versions told to him. For others, he settled on a version of events I believe to be true. You settled on a version of events that you believe to be true? What are you doing? People are saying, my God, what is the president trying to do? Is he trying to squash the First Amendment? This has nothing to do with the First Amendment. This is a guy who admits openly that some of this stuff might not be true and that he went with his best guess on some of the stories that he heard. Good job, Michael. He sassily thanked the White House, asking where he could send chocolates, thanking the president for the extra publicity on the book. You know, it's statements like that get people in jail. You know, it's like at some point, when you're up far enough on the food chain, at some point somebody says, you know, he's too far up the food chain. Let's just let him be. And then what ends up happening is that they show up and they're not whispering in your ear anymore. They're yelling in your ear. They tell you to stand up and put your hands behind your back, and you end up getting traipsed out to the big house, not the White House. This thing goes through all kinds of things. Talks about Roger Ailes. Talks about moving the U.S. Embassy. Word was the plan was always to move the U.S. Embassy from Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Day one, we're moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. The move was supported by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and casino magnate Sheldon Adelson. Then there are talks about the Trump marriage. The notion that the marriage is a marriage in name only is far from true. Per the book, Trump spoke of his wife, Melania, frequently, proudly called her a trophy wife, and sought her approval. She didn't want her husband to win, though she reportedly was among some of the only people that believed he could win when he started pondering a run back in 2014. And he believed he could deliver that to her. He offered his wife a solemn guarantee. If there was simply no way he could win, and even for a chronically, some would say helplessly unfaithful husband, this was one promise to his wife that he seemed sure to keep. Whatever. Michael Flynn, who would later go on to become Trump's national security advisor before being fired. That, among revelations that he had spoken with the Russian ambassador prior to Trump's inauguration, was paid $45,000 for speaking in an anniversary conference for Russia Today. Some Trump associates believe that Trump scoffed at Russian collusion in the 2016 presidential election because it was a perfect example of his inability to connect the dots. Wrong. Even if he hadn't personally conspired with the Russians to fix the elections, his efforts to curry favor with, of all people, Vladimir Putin had no doubt left a trail of alarming words and deeds. One person who was particularly concerned, Roger Ailes. You've got to get it right on Russia, said the former news chairman. Later in the book, a national Republican figure told Kushner not to be upset with the various intelligence committees or communities because that could lead to a Russian investigation, which of course it did, thanks to James Comey. And who's got a bigger hoax than you? Well, maybe the president. President Trump said that he dissed and dismissed Michael Wolff's nearly released White House tell-all as a distraction from what he described as the unraveling of the Russia collusion hoax. Well, now the collusion with Russia is proving to be a total hoax, and the only collusion is with Hillary Clinton and the FBI Russia, the fake news media, and the phony news book, or the phony new book, are hanging out at every news front imaginable. Phony. The actual quote is, well, now the collusion with Russia is proving to be a total hoax, and the only collusion is with Hillary Clinton and FBI Russia, the fake news media, mainstream, and this phony new book are hitting out at every news front imaginable. They should probably try to put some of that money away into a good candidate who might be able to win. Maybe may they rest in peace. Finally, Rex Tillerson said, "No, I never said that. I never said that, and I did not say that, and I would not say that." He also talks a little bit about how much longer he's going to be around. And he says, you'll like the answer. So stick around. We'll tell you what that answer is coming up in just a couple of moments. You're listening to the Wells Report, 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691, 824, make that 844-927-6691. We'll get you through to the Wells Report. You are listening to the USA Radio Network. All right, then. Back.
My bad.
Go ahead. What?
My bad if I confused you when I put the Jim's number up there first.
Yeah, it's not your fault. No problem. I got to call him. Talk to you in a minute.
All right.
Okay, everybody. Who?
We got 1 minute.
I'm actually sweating. Okay, let's see. All right, so let's put that there. Let me put this there. Okay. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that. All righty then. I'll tell you what I like it better when John David does the Friday Flame Out. He has so much more interesting things to say about the ridiculousness of the reported news. Someone went to Starbucks, I see. I do that pretty much every day, darling. Because coffee, without coffee, there is no life. Okay. Man.
All right, here we go in 10 seconds.
10 dang seconds. 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. You're listening to the Wells Report. John David Wells at your service. So Rex Tillerson, who is the Secretary of State, is finishing or actually responding to some of the things said about him in this Michael Wolff book. Even where Michael Wolff says he's not sure that some of these things are true. Well, that's great, man. Well done. Nicely done. There you go. By all means, publish some garbage about the president of the United States simply because you don't like his politics or what have you. Gosh, it just drives me bats. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has never questioned President Donald Trump's mental fitness and intends to remain in his post for the entire year. This according to the top diplomat. In a CNN exclusive interview, Tillerson was responding to a question about Michael Wolff's explosive book, Fire and Fury, inside the Trump White House. Yeah. I've never questioned his mental fitness. I have no reason to question his mental fitness, Tillerson told CNN's Elise Labat. Tillerson spoke with CNN in a wide-ranging interview where he addressed the threat of North Korea's nuclear program, tensions with Russia and Iran, and his famously tense relationship with the commander-in-chief. Tillerson had reportedly dismissed Trump in the past as a moron, while the president publicly hinted that he would win an IQ contest against the top diplomat. In his conversation with Labat, Tillerson said that his relationship with Trump is evolving. It's one that he's been learning to navigate during his first year on the job. My relationship with him is a developing one. So we're getting to know each other, coming to learn about each other's ideas and beliefs. Yeah, I imagine that's probably not the easiest thing in the world. A couple of dynamic guys. In case you're wondering just exactly who Michael Wolff is, he is somewhat of a caustic gossip columnist more than a real author. He has written a bomb-throwing incendiary book. In the excerpts from the book, given outlets where Mr. Wolff's byline regularly appears, The Guardian, Hollywood Reporter, New York Magazine, the British version of GQ, the White House is portrayed as full of disorder, backbiting, and infighting, which may have been more about the chaos involved in the Trump campaign, less the White House. The book was published today after his release date was moved up. The reason it was moved up is because, well, the president wanted a cease and desist to take effect. And the publisher just decided to say, well, screw you, Mr. President, again. And they moved forward with the book. Mr. Wolff's witty, provocative style has earned him accolades over the years. He won the National Magazine Award for commentary in 2002 and 2004, the latter for a series of columns he wrote as a war correspondent in Qatar. He's also the founder of the news aggregation website Newser.com. His critics contend he has a tendency to play fast and loose with the truth. So take that and consider it. Yeah, Mr. Wolff, you need to enjoy your 15 minutes of fame. The clock is ticking. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, the President of the United States, freezing to death, looks at Al Gore and snickers. Why is he laughing? Well, I'll explain in just a couple of moments. It's Friday. It's beautiful in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. We got sunshine everywhere. Hope you do too. Hope you're ready for a great weekend after this Friday's over. We'll be back with more coming up in just a moment on the Wells Report on the USA Radio Network.
All right, man. Good first hour.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna grab a little sandwich out the fridge real quick, so I'll be back in a minute.
Good.
All right, you got about 6 minutes.
Belinda Chandler. I wonder who she is. I don't know. Yes, sir. Would I voice those for you? Yes. What are they? Oh, yeah? Cool. Alliance for the Brave. Do we have anything to record on? Yeah, I don't have anything I don't have anything to record on. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, it would be nice if it did. Maybe it does. Hang on a second here. Let's see. How do I find that out? I go up here. Then I go to what? Oh. Alliance for the Brave on. Okay. All right. Sure. I don't think this is in here. I don't think that audition is in here. Okay, can I talk to a machine in there? No? All right. Can I voice it in here and you record it in there? Okay. Yeah, let me do what's going on with that. That'll be fun. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Copy.
All right, man. We're back in a minute 15.
Okay.
All right, here we go in 10 seconds.
Ready, sir. North to south, coast to coast, this is the Wells Report. Greetings, I'm John David Wells. Telephone number is 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. I don't know whether you've noticed it or not, but the weather for the United States has been just a little bit wintry. We've had some kind of a wintry mix and something called a bomb. What was that? What's going on with that? They come up with new ways of describing storms. It's some sort of bomb front. What was that? I mean, it's like, how about this? How about it's a blizzard? I mean, what about that? Is that okay? It's like all these people it's a bomb cyclone. Have you ever heard of a bomb cyclone? I've never heard of one. Never heard of a bomb cyclone. Didn't even know a bomb cyclone existed. But it's violent. Yeah. A violent winter storm dubbed as a bomb cyclone. Roared into New England with hurricane-like winds yesterday, pushing high tide to near record levels and stranding inundated motorists on downtown Boston streets. The brutal storm raced up the East Coast, forcing school closings, canceling flights, knocking out power to thousands. Airport authorities said late yesterday they were optimistic for flight schedules to resume today, but they advised passengers to contact airliners before jumping out for a specific flight. Wow. Scattered fatalities reported, including a car passenger who died after a vehicle on Thursday couldn't stop at the bottom of a steep, snow-covered hill and slammed into a commuter train on its way to Philadelphia. Wow. Again, wow. Around Boston, the National Weather Service reported that howling winds sent the icy tide to high historic levels. On Boston's Atlantic Avenue, other areas in the city, severe flooding, forced emergency response teams to come rescue motorists with boats. Winter weather watches and warnings remain in place along hundreds of miles from the mid-Atlantic to northern Maine. These pictures look burly. Doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of snow. But that's the one thing you can't really depend on. Cyclone bombs or bomb cyclones are notoriously capricious. The storm capped off a week of brutal cold across the nation that has left at least 17 people dead. Authorities in North Carolina say 2 men died Wednesday night when their pickup truck overturned into a creek in Moore County, southwest of the Raleigh-Durham area. Authorities say the fatal accident involving a car and a commuter train happened during extreme snow conditions. Yeah. Extreme snow conditions. This thing does look like a cyclone. Why they call it a bomb cyclone, I have no idea. I just don't. I don't understand what they're trying to say. You know, I guess to each his own, but a bomb cyclone seems a little melodramatic to me. I mean, I could be wrong. But when have you ever noticed me to be melodramatic? Never. So why am I talking to you about the weather, especially when it's absolutely gorgeous outside? Well, I'm talking about it because former Vice President Al Gore is talking about it again. Vice President Al Gore weighed in on the record snow and cold in the United States. It's bitter cold in parts of the U.S., but climate scientist Dr. Michael Mann explains that that's exactly what we should be expecting from the climate crisis. Yeah, we have climate change. We have global warming caused by man-made interference in the climate. But because of this global warming, we should expect a climate crisis. This is what we should expect. It's going to be too hot, therefore it must freeze first. What? Yeah, you're going to be dying of heat later on this summer, but before you die of heat, you've got to freeze to death in the wintertime. Sure. Gore linked one of his organization's articles on the brutal winter weather written by ClimateGate professor Michael Mann. The ClimateGate Reality project, a perfect storm, extreme weather, bitter cold, and climate change. Yeah, Al Gore, bitter cold is exactly what we'd expect from the climate crisis. Now, remember, this guy won an Oscar for an inconvenient truth. It's strange, even though the former vice president won an Oscar for that thing. Al Gore did not warn of a record cold and increasing snowfall as a consequence of man-made global warming. No, he's making it up as he goes along. Do you agree with that? Man, it's amazing how many people from the left just look at this as absolute orthodoxy. Oh yeah, it's global warming. We're all going to die unless we pay far more tax money, a lot more taxes to politicians. The entire world is going to come undone. I'm sorry, what did you just say? Did you say that the entire world was going to disassemble unless we paid our politicians more money? Yes. Okay. Whatever you say. Britain's weather ends tomorrow with further indications of a striking environmental change. Snow is starting to disappear from our lives. Sledges, snowmen, snowballs, the excitement of waking up to find the stuff has settled outside are all a rapidly diminishing part of Britain's culture, according to winter farmers. Farmers. As warmer winters, not winter farmers. What am I doing? Which scientists are attributing to global climate change. They produce not only fewer white Christmases, but fewer white Januaries and Februaries. But now snow is piling up. So climate change were adjusted. Cold and snow were added to the list of things caused by global warming. Bowls of Cheerios being eaten by people left and right are all being associated with global warming. Because with global warming, you have to have cold cereal. Unless you happen to be eating oatmeal. And then, of course, you've got to have cold weather. In 2010, Gore claimed increasing heavy snowfalls are completely consistent with man-made global warming. Predictions of less snow and less severe winters were hammered into the public by global warming scientists. Once the predictions failed to come true, the opposite of what they predicted instead became what they expected. Yes, we told you that it was going to snow and we were going to be buried under a gigantic gigantic snowman that looked very much like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. However, when the snow didn't come, we were correct because we were expecting that to not happen until it did, in which case we were expecting it to happen all along. See that cloud over there? It's going to come over here and kill us, unless it doesn't. If it does come over and kill us, it's man-made global warming. If it doesn't, it's climate change. Oh. So what you're saying essentially is that if it happens, it's because of climate change, and if it doesn't happen, it's because of global warming? Yeah. Okay, great. Great to know. Thanks very much. Charlie Onions writes this: if climate change is causing record cold and snow, then it would stand to reason that Gore is suggesting that the U.S. had ratified the Kyoto Protocol on global warming back in the 90s. The winter of 2018 would have been warmer? Well, of course. One of the things that I have been joyously involved with in my career is an organization known as AccuWeather. AccuWeather is one of those groups of people that do things beautifully. One, their weather is uniformly perfect. It's just, AccuWeather is just amazing. Those guys really do a great job. They're up in State College, Pennsylvania, and they have been giving us our nation's weather for years. As a matter of fact, Joe Bastardi used to be just a weather guy at AccuWeather when I met him. But now it's Joe Bastardi's turn to talk a little bit about all of this. What does Joe Bastardi say about all this climate change, global warming, gobbledygooky and crap? He says, insanity. It's witchcraft. This is flat out insanity and deception now to tell the truth that events that have occurred countless times before with no climate change attribution is now just that. Not science, it's witchcraft. No proof at all. It's climate ambulance chasing, nothing more. Exactly. How did you know that global warming was gobbledygooky and claptrap, John David? So glad you asked that question. Here's how I knew. I knew that it was gobbledygooky and claptrap as soon as I discovered that in order to save ourselves from the horrors of global warming, we had to pay politicians more tax money. At the end of all of it, we either have to stop using energy because it's polluting the energy balance of the entire planet. What? Yeah. You see, global climate change and global warming is all our fault because in the winter, we warm ourselves with heaters. And in the summer, we cool ourselves off with air conditioners. So all of this artificial interference in the climate is totally destroying it. So what you need to do is you need to stop using your heater and stop using your air conditioner. You know, come to think of it, stop wearing sweaters. Because you see what sweaters do is it keeps you warm. You have to release that heat somewhere. It goes up to the atmosphere. It creates an ozone hole. Oh, wait, no, that's air conditioning. I'm sorry. See, I get so confused. Climatologist Roger Pielka said, for those who claim the USA, Canada nor'easter is stronger because of global warming, they apparently do not realize that it's so strong because of an especially strong horizontal temperature gradient in the troposphere. You silly person. It bombed because of the unusually cold air. Darn. These people are actually looking forward to storms that will damage us and hurt us a lot. I think I hate them. This is the Wells Report.
All right, man.
Farmers. God, I cannot believe I saw the word farmers out of that. Oh, well. Oh, Wellicus. It's been a long day, buddy. Bitter cold. Bitter cold. It's Andy Man. What's going on, you big stud? Hey, do you want to test out this phone system today? Why not? Let's have people call us on our new talk line.
All right, man. We got 1 minute.
1 freaking minute. Hey, Andy. Do we have, what is it, control panel? What is it? What is that, that phone answering software? What is that? Test 1 2 1 2. Is it in here? Where would I find it? Let's see here.
All right, back in 10 seconds.
Yeah. Broadcast clock creator. Did you put it on here? Okay. Is that it, buddy? Is that so? That's it, huh? So it'll work now? Can we give it a shot? All right. We've got an experience. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, Mike.
You're on.
Now I know I'm on.
Oh, okay.
No, I realized I was on. I knew that I was on the whole time. See, what we're doing here is we're making our radio station here in Dallas, Texas, the flagship of the mighty USA Radio Network. What we're doing is we're making it long, taller, broader, stronger. We're giving it broader shoulders, stronger legs. And what we've just done is we've just added a phone system that will allow people in Dallas, Texas to call us on the phone.
Oh, awesome.
See, and so we have our national number, which is 844-927-6691, and people call that from time to time. But we also have a number here in Dallas, Texas, and what we want to do is we want to invite people listening on 1160 AM KBDT, Big D Talk. What we want people to do is we want people to please do call us at the following telephone number, 214-810-8255. Call us right now. Here we go again. It's 214, and you can dial long distance if you want to. I mean, there really isn't any long distance charges anymore, so it's actually toll free from anywhere. But anyway, it's 214-810-8255. You'll be the first person to talk to us on our brand new phone system so that local folk in Dallas, Texas can call us directly here on the radio station. You know what? I think I'll call myself. Will I go blind if I do that? You have any idea? You don't know? Let me see. I'm going to try this here. 214, let's see, 810-8255. Then what I'll do is I'll put it on speaker. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sorry, the person you were trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet. Please try your call again later. Goodbye.
It is 810-8255, right? So our voicemail box has not been set up yet. Nobody? Is somebody called? Somebody's called? Well, we do have somebody on the phone. Was that me? So it did call, but then it hung up on me because it knows me, obviously. Oh, did you hang up on me? Okay. All right, so here we go. 214-810-8255. Call us on the telephone, but you know, our very fancy phone answering machine, it did not work. By the way, in case you're wondering, I'm just asking, you know, just trying to do my best here, just getting along. Oh, what is somebody calling? Okay, yeah. So you'll just have to put them on and tell me who they are and so on and so forth because our phone answering software is not working quite yet. But let's move on, shall we? Sorry, wasting your time, aren't we? Hey, it's a big day, man. We got new equipment. We're trying it out. Did you hear about this? As tensions between North Korea and the United States rise, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, want Americans to be prepared in case of a nuclear event. What? Yeah. The agency scheduled a briefing for January 16th, titled Public Health Response to a Nuclear Detonation, where federal, state, and local officials will detail what preparations have been made in case of such an event. This is always good. While a nuclear detonation is unlikely, it would have devastating results. You think? And there would be limited time to take critical protection steps. You know, duck and cover. That according to the CDC website detailing the briefing. There's more. For instance, some people don't realize that sheltering in place for at least 24 hours is crucial to saving lives and reducing exposure to radiation. This is, of course, dependent on the fact that the explosion did not reduce your house to a pile of glowing bricks and wood, in which case sheltering in place would not be a good idea. If you want to know more, go to the CDC website. I went to the CDC website, I read what they had there, and began to cry. You may want to do that too. The telephone number you can call is 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. You are listening to the Wells Report on Friday. Back with more in a moment. The USA Radio Network.
Hey man, so how would y'all go about are y'all going to put those calls on the air this weekend?
Well, yeah, we could put them on the air.
Okay.
Hey, the phone did not light, or the call commander did not light up when that happened. Yes. Did I just hear you? I sort of heard something. I just sort of heard something on the air. I guess I didn't. Oh, well.
You mean me?
No, not you. I thought I heard something. I thought they were doing something, but they didn't.
Okay, good.
Yes, they didn't. Let's see what I got here. Was I supposed to do that there? I don't think so. Yeah. What is? Okay, yeah. Okie dokie. I think I'm missing. I am missing. What am I missing here? I'm missing a topic. Yeah. I'm missing a topic. So funny. Never slow buzz again. Actively investigating. Much time we got, brother?
You got 1 minute.
1 frickin' minute. 1 frickin' minute. Doop bop boop bop a. Oh, there you go. It's working. Did you check it out there, Logan? Loganaya, catfish pie, filet gumbo.
All right, back in 10 seconds.
10 seconds. You are listening to the Wells Report. 844-927-6691 is our telephone number. 844-927-6691. Yeah. We have a live video stream going out. It's over YouTube live events. It's also on Google Hangouts. If you go to Google Hangouts or YouTube live events, you can do either of those. And what you can do is you can watch the show. and you can. I'm resplendent in my new haircut, but you can also take part in this live chat room that goes on next door. It's right next to the live stream. You can also, by the way, see out the windows of our studio, and you can see how beautiful things are. Anyway, one of the guys, I'm assuming it's a guy. Helicopter, are you a guy? Helicopter Kicks is the guy's handle. Anyway, he says a Dern volcano erupts, and where are all the climate change sycophants? An eruption is equal to 10 years of emission of cars in downtown Atlanta. You're true. That's absolutely true. Yeah. You know, back in the day, it was Al Gore talking about cow flatulence. You know what it is? It's wintertime. It's wintertime in a dynamic environmental planet's environment. You know, take a look at what goes on in this client, in this planet. We have huge oceans. The sun hitting the ocean has a certain effect. Then we have these huge land masses. The sun hitting the huge land masses has this amazing effect. The earth is slanted at 23 degrees, which means is as it travels around the sun shines closer on the northern hemisphere during some parts of the orbit and shines on the southern half of the earth on other parts of the orbit. That means the earth is constantly heating and cooling. Heating and cooling. Throw in the fact that the earth is rotating. It takes us about 24 hours for the earth to rotate on its axis. We call those days. So that means that the sunlight hitting the earth, the actual land masses, heat them up. Then, of course, they move out of the sunlight and they cool down. And this dynamic effect goes in waves around the planet. That's how we get weather patterns. The weather patterns created in the Pacific head up towards the northern polar regions and then come back down through like Alaska in that northwestern flow from the northwest. That's when things really get cold in America. And today, what we've got is this cyclone where this low pressure area is pumping this very cold air back towards the east. If it does it at an extreme level, that's called a nor'easter for those people that live in northeastern America. Now, if you want some more details on how this weather thing works, let's talk a little bit about the cycles of the sun. The sun is not the same. It's not a 100-watt light bulb. It changes. It goes through 11-year cycles. About 12 years ago, we went through something called a solar max. That was when the sun was putting out a great deal of energy. People say that the Earth's temperature warmed up about a half a degree. What they don't tell you is that Mars's temperature warmed up by half a degree. Excuse me? Are you going to put you on the air? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to our very special telephone system in Dallas, Texas. Joining us is the Philip Brown from 1160 AM KBDT.
Hey, JD, what's happening?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Oh, just testing out the phones. It's really cold outside. It's climate change. It's crazy.
You know, it is climate change.
Global warming this week.
Well, I've noticed that the climate has changed since we've been on the air.
Yeah, well, it does that. It's what weather and climate does, is changes.
What you're listening to is the Philip Brown, the executive producer of the Wells Report, joining us on our new call-in line for Dallas, Texas only. Well, it can be anybody.
Right, yeah. It's very confusing because I can hear you like 4 times. A,
right.
On my phone, B, through the speakers, through the Q speakers, and
yes.
then also through something else.
I wonder if that's going to be the way people hear it out in the great big world.
I don't think they can because they're not sitting where I am. So
Okay, so all you have to do is tell Andy that we have a problem with Call Commander.
well, I didn't even use Call Commander. I just said go to me.
Oh, really? So you have to?
Yeah.
Well, but it should have answered or something, right?
I don't know.
Well, yeah. It's got to tell me that you're on. I mean, we have to get that worked out. So we'll do that off the air. But congratulations, you're the first person to actually use our brand new telephone system.
Sounds okay.
Yeah, I had to call myself. So.
Well, you did have to. So you called on your phone. Well, that's what. But yeah, because you're going to be answering the phones when people actually call us.
I'll talk to you about it off air.
Okay, whatever.
All right, I'm hanging up. Bye.
Bye-bye. Let's have a big round of applause for D. Phillip Brown testing our Dallas phone system. Another amazing. Thank you. Yeah, now you have to turn the phone off. All right. So anyway, getting back to global warming. Yeah. So what happens is that the sun warms the ocean, then the ocean goes into night. And it cools back off. And it creates these oscillating waves of weather, which travel across the entire planet. The sun goes through a cycle. And yes, the sun puts out more energy. Our temperatures get warmer on Earth. And then so what ends up happening is that same warming trend happened on another planet in the solar system, Mars. Nobody said anything about that. All I can tell you is that the Martians driving around in their cars and their coal-fired power plants are obviously putting too much CO2 in their atmosphere. And that's why their planet warmed up. Oh, wait, there's no one there. That's right. There's no one on Mars. That's right. Oh, and you want to know something else? This is something else you need to be aware of. Back long ago, 30 or 40 years ago, you would drive to LA and your eyes would begin to sting because of the air that was so bad in the LA basin. This was because of polluting automobiles. It's true. So many people driving cars that were so incredibly dirty from a standpoint of how they ran. Why? Well, because in order to keep the engines running properly, you had to give them more gas than they could burn. So the exhaust contained more than just the byproducts of clean burning gasoline, which, by the way, in case you're wondering, are CO2 and H2O, carbon dioxide, and water. So what ended up happening was that there were unburned gases, what they called hydrocarbons, that also went up into the atmosphere, and that created a big problem. It's true. And so what they ended up doing is they ended up figuring out ways. They figured out ways of being able to get these engines to run more efficiently. And so what they did was they started working it out so that cars would actually sense how much hydrocarbon was left over after the combustion process. And before you knew it, you had fuel regulation, fuel injection that was so good that your car would tune itself up about 30 times a second. Now that was back in the 80s. And that's when the weather began. That's when the actual skies over America began to really clean themselves up. And you could see from one end of LA to the other. It was truly amazing. It really was. I was there. I saw it myself. By the way, the cars today now tune themselves up 100 times a second. They are constantly refining that air-fuel mixture in the combustion chambers. And then whatever's left, very little, goes through a catalytic converter, which burns up everything. All that's left is water and CO2. So, what does that have to do with the weather? Well, suddenly you have fewer pollutants in the sky. You have fewer factories belching large plumes of smoke. Basically, they were coke smoke from steel plants, coal smoke from coal-fired power plants. Those people from the 70s on up, they had been working on keeping their emissions much cleaner, much cleaner, much cleaner. And they did it. They spent millions upon millions upon millions of dollars doing it. So anyway, they spent millions of dollars keeping these plumes clean. And then what happened? Well, then they started attacking coal as if it was some sort of terrible thing that was going to destroy the entire world. They had a war on coal, remember? Hillary Clinton going to West Virginia saying, we're going to close down the coal industry. We're going to give you guys, instead of having a job, we're going to give you guys a federal program. Those crazy people up there didn't want a federal program. They wanted jobs, digging coal. By the time they finally got to the point where they needed a war on coal, coal was already just as clean as any other energy source. But once again, what does this have to do with the weather? Well, there's less smoke in the air, so the actual atmosphere is cleaner, which means that the sunlight gets through more efficiently, which means that it gets warmer. Now, it would be easy to say that the politicians at that particular moment said, you know, it's going to get warmer on this planet. Maybe we can figure out some way of coming up with this global scandalous swindle where we can start saying, well, it's all because of carbon dioxide. We can blame carbon dioxide, and we can start selling carbon credits. In other words, we can start taxing people for the weather. And so what ended up happening from there is that they did all this. The weather got more warm. It wasn't man-made warming per se. It was man-made cleaning of the environment that made the place warmer. That is not some sort of terrible, strange dynamic that's going to cause the United States or cause the entire Earth to turn into Venus. And that's what everybody was trying to scare you with. And I was listening to all of this, and I listened to all these scientists talk about how this was true, and this was absolutely true, and this was also absolutely true. And thus being absolutely true, we were in a position where the only thing you could do at this particular moment is bend over and kiss your butt goodbye because it was all over. And I'm going, no, that's not the case. The case of the matter is that politicians are trying to swindle everyone. And they got scientists to go in with this swindle. Now, make no mistake, these guys deal with peer-reviewed stuff. They couldn't put their name on any of this gobbledygooky and crap. So their identities were kept secret. Yes, Helicopter Kicks points out, what about Bill Nye the Science Guy? Bill Nye the Science Guy is one of these guys who is a dead for certain progressive leftist who wants you to pay all of your money to a government so that he can get a weather grant so that he can continue to be Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's all it is. It's simply a giant swindle. And here's how you can tell that you're being swindled. If the world will end unless you pay a politician more money, it's a swindle. Do you get me? Good. Friday in progress. You're listening to the Wells Report. And by the way, It's not just the fact that the Earth is getting warmer and the Earth is getting cooler. We've got another indefatigable polar bearian reason why we should work harder on the environment. Just kidding. More about that in a moment as we continue on the Wells Report.
All right, sir. Sounded
I
good.
know that didn't make any sense.
What, the polar variant?
Yeah, well, the polar bearian. I thought that was funny, actually.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I wasn't thinking about that.
No, I didn't. Well, I guess it did make sense because I didn't.
AKA a nut. Yes. Yes, indeed. 14 people are watching now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ooh, she's pretty. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 times 4 is... What's 23 times 4?
I'll tell you. 23 times 4 is...
Yes.
23 times 4 is 92.
93, 94. I'm number 94 in the country.
All right.
94 in the country.
Moving up from yesterday.
That's exactly right, everybody.
That's the big picture. That's the big picture, man.
That's right.
Focus on.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive.
Focus on the positive. Yep. 13 people are watching now. There were 17 a minute ago. 23 times 4 equals 42? No. 12, 92. Yeah. All right. What else is going on? What are you going to do this weekend?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, probably just take it easy, man.
Sure.
I have to unwind. Sometimes it's kind of stressful with running live radio broadcasts and making sure everything's right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes other things happen. Like sometimes it's not just you. Like I got to focus on the network too and the news and all that.
Right.
So it's a lot going on, but it's fun. I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong.
You bet you.
Not complaining. Not complaining at all. I definitely enjoy it.
Top GOP candidate pulls out of the Ohio State Senate race. Why? Josh Mandel. Josh Mandel.
Take it 1 minute.
1 minute.
That Mandel sounds familiar.
State Treasurer of Ohio.
Oh, I guess not.
Because of his wife's health.
Oh, man.
Okay. Yes, they have a Senate race. The answer to the universe is what? Hold on.
All right, here we go.
Yep. How bad is the climate in the United States? Ask an iguana. More importantly, ask a Florida iguana. Yeah. Miami Beach. It's really cold in Florida. How cold is it? It's so cold that the iguanas are freezing and falling out of their perches in the trees. Temperatures dipped below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 5 degrees Celsius in case you happen to be Celsius. Anyway, 40 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of South Florida. This according to the National Weather Service in Miami. That is chilly enough, as it turns out, to immobilize green iguanas common in Miami suburbs. The Palm Beach Post has a reporter, a columnist, in fact, Frank Sarabino. He tweeted a photograph of an iguana lying belly up next to his swimming pool. Yeah. This is the analog. This is the reptile analog of polar bears, right? The cold-blooded creatures native to Central and South America start to get sluggish when temperatures fall below 50 degrees. If the temperature falls below that, iguanas will actually freeze up. It's too cold for them to move. They're not the only reptiles stunned by this week's cold snap. I was talking about Al Gore just a moment ago. Okay, Al Gore is not a reptile. I'm just being snot. Sea turtles also stiffen up when temperatures fall. The Wildlife Commission's biologists have been rescuing cold-stunned sea turtles found floating listlessly on the water or near shore. No such rescue is planned for iguanas. Well-meaning residents finding stiffened iguanas are advised to leave them alone. They may feel threatened and bite you when they warm up. Actually, you should stay away from them. They kind of have salmonella. It's like not good. Yeah. Don't assume that they're dead. They're not dead. They're just out. Green iguanas are an invasive species in Florida known for eating through landscaping and digging burrows that undermine infrastructure. They can grow over 5 feet long. Their droppings can be a potential source of, that's right, salmonella. The Wildlife Commission has begun holding workshops to train homeowners and property managers how to trap or manage iguanas. The reptiles may be easier to catch this week. Yeah, if they're not moving, you'd think they'd be easier to catch. Just get yourself a snow shovel. Of course, it wouldn't be a snow shovel, would it? It'd be an iguana shovel. Just get yourself an iguana shovel and just go pick them up. Of course, you could use pitchforks. Be a lot faster. Or maybe not. Iguanas are falling from the sky in Florida. That's how cold it is. So much for global warming. Wow. It's not the only thing crashing to Earth. The first space station built and launched by China is going to come hurling into Earth as winter ends. The Tiangong 1 is predicted to re-enter the atmosphere around March. Nobody knows where it's going to land. That's right. It's not a controlled landing. They don't know where this thing's going to fall. It could fall in our backyard. I know what I'm thinking. I know what you're thinking. It's the same thing I'm thinking. Paperweights for everyone. We'll keep our eyes on it. If it falls on you, we'll report it here on the Wells Report on the USA Radio Network.
All right, so that's a wrap on hour 2 then. I'll be back momentarily.
Unfortunately, 7 o'clock. Okay. Maybe, let's see, like a 10 plagues of paper, Kern Singadama. Okay. All right.
All right, we're back in 30 seconds.
Ha. See, I came back in time. Aren't you happy?
Yeah, you thought I wasn't going to be here in time, didn't
Oh, I did too.
you? I'm just messing.
Okay. Let's see. I needed to call that person.
All right, here we go in 10.
Here we go in 10. North to south, coast to coast. This is the Wells Report. Hi, I'm John David Wells. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. 844-927-6691 is our telephone number. Yeah, we can try the Friday Flameout again. We've been having trouble with participation of the Friday Flameout. The telephone number is 844-927-6691. We had a really good Friday Flameout. I mean, we had like 4 or 5 calls. People called us on the telephone to use the Friday Flameout, which is a way for you to complain about anything that is driving you nuts. Anything that happened anywhere in the United States that drove you crazy was something that you would be able to complain about, get it off your chest, therefore having your anger and angst expunged live on the air, not just on a radio station in one part of the country, but radio stations everywhere. Everywhere in the United States, people will hear you whine, moan, groan, complain, gripe, grouse. Express your extreme displeasure with whatever it is that drove you the craziest. But for whatever reason, people are not availing themselves of this. Is there not enough frustration in the country these days? I mean, I think there's plenty of frustration. For example, I remember when you used to be able to tune in a relatively benign awards show. You know, the Golden Globes, the Oscars, those places, those broadcasts. And Johnny Carson would be the master of ceremonies, or Billy Crystal would be the master of ceremonies, or any number of other really intelligent, funny people would be the master of ceremonies. And what they do is they joke about life in America. But that's not what they do now. No, what they're doing now is they're taking shots at the President of the United States. I remember when we were doing radio, the Wells Report, during the Obama years. And people would blatantly disrespect the President of the United States. And I would say, stop it. No, don't do it. Knock it off, quit, stop, cease. And guess what would not happen? But I would stand up for the president. He was the president. I was standing up for President Obama today. I don't agree with his politics. I think what he did to the United States was net destructive. That doesn't mean he wasn't the president. Doesn't mean that he wasn't elected twice. But now what we're doing is we're basically just horrifyingly abusing President Trump. And it's inexcusable. Late night comedian, and he's on late night for a reason apparently, Seth Meyers is going to be hosting the 75th annual Golden Globe Awards Sunday night. And what he's going to do is he's going to say, hey, we're going to be political during the Golden Globes. I don't mean to be harsh and difficult and so on and so forth, but do you need more politics in your life? I don't need more politics in my life. The Wells Report's not supposed to be a political show. The Wells Report is supposed to be a news show where we talk about the news, big issues of the day. But here we go, Seth Meyers, full of himself, saying, gosh, you know what? We're going to spend the entire night making Donald Trump look like a moron. In point of reality, he's only going to make himself look like a moron. I'm talking about Seth Meyers. Nobody's going to be watching the Golden Globes. And it's probably not really fair that people don't watch the Golden Globes. But you know what? I've had enough of sanctimonious people talking about how terrible men are, and I don't want to watch every woman on the Golden Globes broadcast dressed in black as if they would do. I mean, you know, these are the same women, these women that are complaining about how terrible sexual harassment is in Hollywood. These are the same women that show up in sheer evening gowns that leave nothing to the imagination. But somehow they've got this credibility to be able to say, oh, you're sexually harassing me, therefore, you know, I'm sorry. Who was it that was wearing that evening dress that was basically sheer from the waist up? What was her name? I mean, I don't know who it was, but what happened was, of course, is that the cameras kept their focus on her face, which I guess was it Jennifer Lopez?
Rose.
Who was it?
I think it was Rose McGowan.
Rose McGowan? Could be, but I knew it was somebody that, I mean, she was nude. Okay, if that's what you want to do, okay. But then to sit around and complain about people objectifying you, it's like, okay, so explain this to me one more time. I mean, I'm not considering myself a stick in the mud, old, angry guy. But, you know, there are plenty of actresses that were offering themselves to directors for parts in movies. You know, that's part of that too, right? As a matter of fact, you know, there are all kinds of stories about this as we start focusing in on all these people that are going to be parading around in front of you complaining about how terrible it is to be attractive. Driven by outrage and a resolve to correct a power imbalance that seemed intractable months ago, 300 prominent actresses and female agents, writers, directors, producers, entertainment executives have formed an ambitious, sprawling initiative to fight systemic sexual harassment in Hollywood and in blue-collar workplaces nationwide. Fight systemic sexual harassment in Hollywood and in blue-collar workplaces nationwide. What? The initiative includes a legal defense fund backed by $13 million in donations to help less privileged women like janitors, nurses, workers at farms, factories, restaurants, and hotels to protect themselves from sexual misconduct and the fallout from reporting it. Legislation to penalize companies that tolerate persistent harassment and to discourage the use of non-disclosure agreements to silence victims. I'm reading here. It doesn't say that there's trying to come up with legislation to penalize companies that offer money to silence victims. That's interesting. They're leaving that open, I guess. They're leaving it open so that, hey, if you've been sexually harassed, but they want to pay you $25,000, you can say yes and still feel properly outraged, but paid at the same time so that you can sign your non-disclosure and still say, hey, wait, I just made $25,000 because someone told me I had a nice fanny. Oh, okay. A drive to reach gender parity at studios and talent agencies that has already begun making headway. Okay, that's good. I mean, I don't want these women abused. I don't. Nobody wants people to be abused. Nobody wants people abused. But can we stop being so ridiculously sanctimonious about the fact that in an entire industry driven by attraction, that people might be attracted? Let's see what else. There's a request that women walking the red carpet at the Golden Globes speak out and raise awareness by wearing black. Okay. Called Time's Up, the movement was announced on Monday with an impassioned pledge of support to working class women in an open letter signed by hundreds of women in show business, many of them A-listers. Yeah, there you go. The letter also ran as a full-page ad in the New York Times and La Opinión, a Spanish-language newspaper. The struggle for women to break in, to rise up the ranks, and to simply be heard and acknowledged in male-dominated workplaces must end. Time's up on this impenetrable monopoly. Okay. So no, I won't be watching the Golden Globes. I suppose, and I guess I should watch them because my job is to report on what people are doing. But I don't want to do it. I mean, we still can't talk about this subject. I mean, are we ever going to be able to sit down and discuss just exactly what the reality is here? Until then, this is moot. This is typical. Megan Reynolds, writing for The Muse, has this very cool thing going on. She says, "Lips stick it to the man." Yeah. There's a woman wearing leg warmers that said, "Nasty women unite." No, please don't. Let's see. What is it? I don't know what that word is. Yeah, you can report on me not watching, says JC Fab. Yeah, I get it. I'm not watching. But anyway, here's what's going on. As 2017 takes its leave, one thing is for certain: the hashtag resistance movement has arrived in full force. As a vague political concept, but also as a trend or a meme or a little bit of both. And as with any trend or meme, the associated merchandise immediately followed, marketed aggressively with a savvy eye towards those who crave gender parity, but also like t-shirts, lipstick, or travel mugs. A quick glance through the feminist internet reveals that resisting has become a marketing tool rather than an actual act. One major flaw with the resistance marketing is that buying a t-shirt which broadcasts "we should all be feminists," I guess that's what it says, "I love feminist beaches." Oh, I get it. Feminist beaches. What? Feminist beaches. Really? I suppose if I got a t-shirt that said "I like feminist beaches," somebody would call me on the telephone and call me some sort of a jerk, I suppose. Man. So people are cashing in. What are we going to wear? Well, we're going to wear stuff that makes us look cool. Sure. We're going to wear black. Yeah. Let's see. Wing Coven member. The Wing. Yeah, the Witches of Eastwick. She was warned. She was given an explanation. Nevertheless, she persisted. That is the sloganization of Elizabeth Warren. Really? Fantastic. Elizabeth Warren, you know, the girl who said that she was Native American when she was actually not. Just had high cheekbones. All right, whatever. Seth Meyers, gonna host the Golden Globes and make it all about Donald Trump and how terrible he is. Pass. Is she going to be wearing war paint? Yes, but no, I can't say it. The question is, will she be wearing black war paint? So many ways to get into trouble.
All right, man. Sounding good.
Thank you. Yeah. Let's see if anybody cares. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 97. 97. Dung. Where are you guys talking about dung? Really? Oh. Yeah. Let's see what we've got here. No leg warmers. Apparently not. Let me see if she's watching on Facebook. FB question mark. War paint. It's brown and sounds like a bell. It's brown and sounds like a bell. Dung. You mean dong? No. Oh. Ding, dang, dung. Good point. Where's my picture of the check?
1 minute.
Shit. How much? 1 minute?
Yeah, 45 seconds. All right, here we go in 10.
Okay. Eight 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. There's a guy out there who's a very impressive human being. He is a guy named Alex Trebek. Alex Trebek was a game show host way back in the 70s, all the way through the 90s and in the 80s and 90s. And he was so good at it and is so good at it that he has been in business doing it when the rest of those guys, I mean, Alex Trebek is basically a game show host. He's 77 years old. And what he's been doing over the years is just making just a killing, and a good one, doing Jeopardy. Now, what he's doing is he's taking a medical leave. From apparently what happened, he took a fall at his home, and gave himself a pretty serious head knock. And what ended up happening out of that is that he got a bleed. In other words, his brain began to bleed inside his skull. That is called a subdural hematoma. What they do, and of course, what they do is they go in and they remove the clot and reduce the pressure on the brain and so on and so on. Wearing a Jeopardy baseball cap, yellow sweater, and a jeans, and a set of jeans, he left a video message on the Jeopardy YouTube channel explaining his condition and promising a quick return to hosting the quiz show. Some of you may have heard by now that during the holiday break, I had a slight medical problem. He endured a fall about 2 months ago, caused a subdural hematoma, blood clots on the brain. After 2 days in the hospital, he had surgery in December. After 2 days, came home and has started his recovery. The prognosis is excellent. He's going to be back in the studio taping more Jeopardy programs very, very soon. Don't know how long that's going to take. I saw the video. He was, they say he was subdued. I'm not sure that that's the case. I'm pretty sure that what he was he was just being very, very careful. That he probably wasn't feeling very good. He's probably got one whale of a headache. And he may not necessarily be thinking as quickly as he is normally used to. You never know. Depends on where those blood clots were. Depends on how long they were in place. Depends on how much damage was done, if any. But he seemed to be completely in command of his faculties, looking like Alex Trebek did. But the one thing I want to say about Alex Trebek is that he's not just an amazing talk show host. Not talk show host, but a game show host. But he's truly an amazing guy. Very, very talented. That kind of that kind of job is just not for everybody. I'm watching people that are actors now do these things. Stand-up comedians are game show hosts, but back in the day, mainly radio DJs were game show hosts. Bob Eubanks is another one that comes to mind. Hugh Downs was an NBC news guy that did a show called Concentration for years. Alan Ludden was also a radio personality who did Password. All these guys were I wanted to do a game show for a living. I love those things. I think they're fun as heck. And I really wanted to do one. But I've got to tell you, you can't just be a game show host anymore. You have to be something else, and then they give you a game show. Okay. But I did have a brush, just a slight little brush with this world. Years and years and years ago, I was given the opportunity to be the booth announcer for a quiz show that was going to star Mark Wahlberg. I actually auditioned for the part. I would have been the big voiced announcer in the back room. I thought I had a leg up because my name is actually Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. Well, you're welcome there, Marky. Mark. Anyway, didn't happen. And now, here I am, reading the news slavishly every day. And I have yet to be able to say these words in anger. Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills. Always wanted to say that. Never been able to. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, we'll try it again. We will try again. It will be the Friday Flameout. If you want to complain about something, if you want to gripe, you want to grouse, you want to make an exclamation of frustration so it gets off your chests and lets you be cleansed for the weekend of peace and harmony, join us next on the Wells Report. You're listening to the USA Radio Network. Back with more on Friday afternoon in just a moment.
All right, man. All right, man. Back in 1 minute. Hey, man. Here, we're coming back.
Hi there. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. How's it going? I hope everything is fine. It's time now for the Friday Flameout. This is something we do on the last half hour of the broadcast week. This is an opportunity for you to complain about something that drove you crazy this week. I know something drove you crazy this week. There were so many things to choose from. So here's what I'd like you to do. What I'd like you to do is I would like you to call me on the telephone, complain about whatever it is that drove you the craziest, so that you can get it off your chest and not have to worry about it the rest of the weekend. You'll be able to complain. You'll be able to vent. You know how people call you and say, "Can I vent?" Well, this is your chance. You can whine, moan, groan, complain, gripe, grouse, express your extreme displeasure with whatever it is that drove you the craziest this week. But all you got to do is call us at this number, 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. One of the things that I have been driven, and by the way, while we're waiting for you to call us, what I will do is I will provide things that drove me crazy this week, simply because I guess, I keep fighting with the fact that I'm getting disgusted with people doing stupid stuff. I guess it means at some level that I'm getting old, but I try to resist it. I listen to Clint Eastwood. He says, if you don't want to be old, don't let the old man in. And I'm trying. But do I have to be understanding of and perhaps a participant in the how-to guide on pronoun usage when it comes to trying to figure out how to use gender-neutral pronouns? I mean, this gender-neutral thing, seriously? The University of Georgia's LGBT Resource Center recently produced a how-to guide on pronunciation uses or pronoun usage in an effort to promote inclusive language on campus. Inclusive language on campus. See, all this time I thought inclusive language on campus was speaking in a language that everybody understands. Apparently not. So here's what you can do. The pamphlet included a chart listing both traditional and gender-neutral pronouns, along with a worksheet to help students practice using each one as a subject, object, possessive pronoun, and reflexive. Introduce yourself with your name and your pronouns so others will feel comfortable doing the same. Instead of using she or s/he, for example, the chart suggests they, z, ea, what? That's e/ey. What is that? I don't know. Per or they, each of which has a corresponding variation to replace the formulations her, him, her, his, hers, his, and her, himself. That's herself, himself. Right? An accompanying how-to guide provides example sentences directing students to fill in the blanks with a pronoun from the appropriate numbered column. Respecting somebody's gender identity means using their pronouns, whether they're in earshot or not. Yeah. The guide also includes advice for those who may be uncomfortable using gender-neutral pronouns, encouraging them to volunteer their own preferred pronouns and ask others to specify theirs. I just saw Zay a few minutes ago. Now, they also have one that's really interesting. They have HIR. Her. What's the difference between her and her? I don't get it. You know what I think? I think I should just use people's names. How about this? Instead of being a pronoun, how about I'll just use your name? Like, for example, hey, Mark, how are you? Hey, I was looking at Mark's car. You know, Mark got great grades in school. Oh, this is one of my favorite guys. Wyatt. Golly, man, thanks for calling. Hang on just a second here. Let me find you over here. Okay. For the Friday Flame Out, we have Wyatt joining us. Wyatt, welcome.
You know, as your resident radio historian.
Yes, sir. By the way, in case people don't know this, wait a minute, hang on. Oh, I did leave a name out or two. Wyatt is the guy who is the purveyor of and the brilliant host of classic radio theater, heard on most of these same USA Radio Network stations.
Thank you. But you left off two of the best.
Two of the best game show hosts you were talking about.
Who were also great radio hosts.
Okay, who did I leave off?
You left off the Match Games, Gene Rayburn.
Gene Rayburn. That's exactly right.
And you also left off probably one of the longest running game show hosts who was also a radio guy on NBC New York, WNBC, and that is Bill Cullen.
Bill Cullen. You're correct. You are completely correct. And remember all those great voices? Who was the guy that did the dating game?
Oh, my God.
Who was the guy that did the dating game?
That was Bobby. No, that was Jim Lang.
Jim Lang did that. He was from KGO in San Francisco.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. And I remember all those guys. And I said, gosh, you know, they had such great gigs, especially Bob Eubanks. Bob Eubanks had probably one of the best gigs in the world, being the game show host of the Newlywed Game.
Well, and, you know, Chuck Woolery still does his thing.
Yes, he does. And by the way,
he's now doing more.
Have you been following him on
podcast?
Yeah, have you been following him on Twitter?
Not as closely as I should be.
Chuck Woolery. You got to follow Chuck Woolery on Twitter. He is amazing. Very good commentary. He hits it every 3 or 4 times a day.
And they don't get funnier than him either.
True. But I'm glad you did that. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because those guys, I mean, isn't it amazing that now we've got actors? Drew Carey is doing not what is it? Price
is Right.
Yeah, The Price is Right, exactly. Drew Carey's doing that. Go ahead.
And look at who's doing Let's Make a Deal.
Who is doing Let's Make a Deal?
God, and I knew you were going to say that, and
See?
I forgot his name now.
See, you brought him up. Okay, hang on a second.
Whose line is it anyway?
Right, exactly. That guy's hysterical.
The African American fellow whose name I can't remember. Yeah, he's great.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
But, it's just. But we'll think of that. But I mean, there's been so many good radio guys who did it in the past, and now, what radio guys do we have left?
Yeah, true. I mean, that's also true. There are not a lot of us left, Wyatt. It's just you and me and Fred. It's just the three of us, me and Wayne Allen Root. Yeah, that's all there is.
Yeah, and that's all there is.
Yes, exactly. Wayne Brady.
But Wayne Brady, that's right.
Wayne Brady, exactly.
Hilarious guy, and he does wonderful musical parodies.
Yes, he does. Yeah, very talented human being. Yeah, very talented human being.
Anyway, I was doing well this week until you left those two guys out.
You know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I trashed your entire week, Wyatt. That was a bad on my part. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hey, listen, do me a favor. Have you got my number?
No.
I need you to call me. I don't have your number. I found this out. Contact me on
you don't have my number.
Yeah, I don't have your number, and I've got to do a bunch of liners for you. By the way, in case you don't know it, Wyatt also runs the Nevada News Network, and the Wells Report appears on the Nevada News Network, and I owe you some promo liners, and I want to get those things to you.
Yeah. On all 5 of our stations, you are heard all across the state of Nevada, in northern Nevada, in Reno on KNNR, Battle Mountain, Nevada, KNNT, KPKK in Amargosa Valley, which Fred will tell you about. They actually have, because it's right next to Area 51, they have the alien brothel.
Oh, do they really?
And they really do. And they also in Hawthorne, Nevada on KAVB. So you're all over the state.
Would you please tell everybody that I thank them very much? I'm coming back to Nevada there very soon, because I want to make sure that I want to meet everybody that listens to the Wells Report on all of those stations, man. I want to come and meet you, and I want to thank you very much for putting us on, because you were one of the first guys to jump on the Wells Report when you had a chance, and it means a lot to me, my friend.
Well, we'll try to have all 3 of your listeners here.
That would be great. I'd like to meet them all 3. Makes no difference, my friend. Thank you so much. That's Wyatt in Ely, Nevada, joining us tonight. To remind me of some of these great guys. Bill Cullen is exactly correct. Bill Cullen. These great big, rich, deep baritone voices. When they used to be on the radio. I remember used to being one of those guys, and now I'm simply a talk show host reading the news. All right. So anyway, our telephone number again is 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. You can join us and do whatever you'd like to do. I've got some good news here. The number of individuals receiving benefits from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps, has declined by more than 2 million people. That's always good. This according to data released by the Department of Agriculture in the fiscal year 2016. The number of individuals receiving benefits from the food stamp program totaled 44,219,363. In 2017, that number dropped to 42,182,443. That's a decline of over 2 million people. That's great. I mean, that's really hard. Once you get on one of these assistance programs, it's really, really hard to get off of it, because what you have to do is you have to not only replace the job that perhaps put you on food assistance, but you also have to replace the amount of money that you get on your food assistance. That's not always easy. Let's see more of the Friday Flameout underway here as people complain about whatever it is that drove them the craziest this week. Logan joining us from Dallas. Thanks for joining us, my friend. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Yes, sir, and I am so glad to be on the Wells Report, heard north to south, coast to coast, and worldwide. on a variety of platforms. But my Friday flame out,
Yes, sir.
bitch fetch, is just about this global warming, cooling thing that keeps going on. It keeps continue to be reported.
Are they
going on? This is
I was asking today, I was talking to the Philip Brown, and I was saying, is this going to be the year where global warming finally runs its course and people stop playing around with this fraud and deceit and this complete corruption of American science and world science? Is this going to be the year where it disappears?
Well, you know that Trump refused to go to Europe to be involved in that in behalf of the United States, and he just would not partake. And you have done a lot of reporting, and you have great knowledge of this over the years, and I really like to hear from what you have to say about it. Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, Logan. I appreciate it. By the way, you're correct. My dad, as you know, tracked satellites in the 60s. One of them was the Orbiting Solar Observatory, OSO. And we learned a lot about the sun from that probe. I mean, these are things that one of the things that was really cool about growing up with my dad is that we were actually paying a lot of attention to what this planet was doing and what it was going through. And that was one of the things that the Satellite Tracking Data Acquisition Network back in the 60s was doing. And it was not the only thing, believe me, but it was, yeah. Anyway, he tracked satellites. Yeah, well, which kind of satellites? Well, I can't tell you. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill myself. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is this. You have scant moments left to call and complain about whatever it is that drove you the craziest this week. Lots of things to pick from. But if you don't have something, I've got something that's remarkably silly that I will share with you in a moment. Although it may not necessarily, it could be a passing of an entire age. I'll explain in a moment on the Wells Report. Stay put.
All right, man. Well, that was pretty good.
All right.
I'm
Hello.
all right, man. I'm back in 35 seconds.
35 secondies, Ozai,
That was pretty good. You got a couple of them in there.
What?
Called.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Let's see here. Get real now. Everybody have a great weekend. Be good and learn from you a lot. Good. Good.
All right, back in 10.
10. Eight 844-927-6691. You are listening to the Wells Report. I am the aforementioned John Wells. John David Wells, in fact. And you can join us, 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. You know, I used to smoke. I quit smoking in 1984. I quit smoking in 1984 after smoking for about, 4 or 5 years. And I smoked Marlboro Red in the box. And the reason I smoked Marlboro Red in the box is because they really tasted great. And they were less filling, by the way. So that being said, I realized that I was going to kill myself if I didn't stop smoking. And so I stopped smoking. I did it on the Great American Smokeout. You ever heard of that? Great American Smokeout, which is, it was like a Thanksgiving thing. What you do is you just pick one day and you go one day without smoking. And I realized at the end of the day, I pretty much wasn't interested in smoking. And then, congratulations, JC just said I quit 1 year ago today. Congratulations, JC. Keep quitting, man. Just keep doing it. But what's interesting is that Philip Morris, those are the people that make Marlboro cigarettes, they're making a New Year's resolution. They are giving up cigarettes. The makers of cigarette brands Marlboro, L&M, Parliament, Chesterfield, all of these, they're trying to build a smoke-free future and eventually stop selling cigarettes. The manifesto, as described in the company's website, is to help people quit smoking traditional cigarettes and to one day replace them with smoke-free alternatives like e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. Now, near as I can tell, e-cigarettes are pretty, from a standpoint of actually what they do for you versus what they don't do for you, they're certainly a lot safer than regular cigarettes. E-cigarettes are a lot safer. They seem to be extremely satisfying to the people who smoke them. And from what I understand, there is nothing. It could be that there's nothing that is unhealthy about them. Don't know that yet. But keep something in mind. What we do know is that nicotine under high stress situations works. In other words, nicotine helps your brain work better. It's true. And so if you wanted to know why people were in high stress situations were smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee all the time, that's why. So once again, this is interesting. Philip Morris giving up cigarettes. The company claims the alternatives are less harmful. We can achieve a significant public health benefit only when a large number of these smokers switch from cigarettes to better products. No cigarette company has ever done anything like this before. You might wonder if we really mean it. The World Health Organization is asking that as well. The United Nations Health Agency has refused to partner with the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World, which, by the way, is funded by Philip Morris. So I guess that the tobacco industry kind of did this to themselves. And what they're doing now is they're trying to clean up their image. I wonder if they're going to do that. But I thought you'd like to know. The executive producer of the Wells Report is the Philip Brown. Our technical producer, the guy back in Phoenix making it work for the USA Radio Network, is Mike Hawkins. My name is John David Wells. I hope you have a wonderful and fantastic weekend. I hope you take care of yourself, and we get back together to reconvene on this very radio station on Monday. Let's get together. Let's make it a date, shall we? Until then, you've been listening to the Wells Report. Stick around. Wayne Allen Root coming up next on USA Radio Network.
All right, man. Good show.
Was it?
Yeah.
Felt kind of scattered. I had so much shit to do today. I didn't have it. I mean, stuff. I had so much stuff to do today that I really didn't get a chance to put as much effort into the show I needed to. And I feel badly about it too. Anyway, that being said.
All right, man. Have a good weekend, man.
You too, brother.
See you back on Monday.
Thank you very much. Take good care.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Bye. Get 3 cow plugs. 3222. No, wait. Order now and get 3 cow plugs for $19.99 and free shipping. What? Excuse me? So listen, my dear friends, compatriots, I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to be here all weekend. I hope you take good care of yourself, and I'll see you back on Monday, okay? Bye-bye.